Okay, let's review units. We have the fundamental units, which are time, length, and mass. And then we have our systems of units. We have the feet, pounds, second system, and the systems international. So time in both systems is seconds, length in FPS is feet, length in SI is meters, mass in SI is kilograms, and then force in FPS is pounds. Mass in FPS is a derived unit, and force in SI units are derived units. To get the derived unit of force for SI, we use Newton's second law. There you see Newton's second law relates all three fundamental units. So before we get the derived unit for mass and FPS, let's go and do conversions between force units between SI and FPS. So recall that we have in FPS we call a pound mass and a pound force. The conversion factor is 1. So to convert from FPS to SI, we just take pounds force, convert to pounds mass, and then we have this relation that there's 2.2 pounds per kilogram. With that, we can convert pounds mass to kilograms, and then we just multiply kilograms times acceleration, and we have newtons. So we can do that because we have this conversion factor. So the conversion factor is the 2.2 pounds mass per kilogram. Then to convert from newtons to pounds, then we just take newtons and divide by acceleration or gravity, the 9.81 meters per second square. So that gives us kilograms. Then we convert the kilograms to pounds mass, and then the pounds mass to pounds force. So that's really simple. So now we go back to Newton's second law and try and get the units for mass in FPS. So we're going to use weight equals mass times gravity. If we use the relationship 1 pound force per pound mass and we get G is equal to 1, we know that's not correct. So we take the G in SI units converted to FPS, and then we can use that value, 32.185 feet per second square, to get the units of mass in FPS. And we call this unit a slug. So you see that we just use Newton's second law and solve for mass using the units only. So in summary, in FPS, the mass is a derived unit, and we derive that unit using Newton's second law. So we just take the acceleration units, feet per second square, and we write Newton's law of force equals mass times acceleration in FPS units. So we have 1 pound equals mass times acceleration, which we say is feet per second squared, and we solve for m, and we get that the mass unit is pound second squared per foot, and we call that unit a slug. So we can complete our table. Again, we have the three fundamental units and the derived units. We have time, length, and mass, and then force is derived unit. We have two systems of units, FPS and SI. And FPS, time is seconds, length is feet, mass is pounds seconds squared per foot, which we call a slug. That's the derived unit. And force is pounds. In SI, we have the time unit is seconds, the length unit is mass. The length unit is meters, the mass unit is kilograms, and the force unit is a derived unit from Newton's law, kilogram meters per second square. So typically you'll have a problem where you're given a force in pounds. To get mass, you simply divide by the 32.2 feet per second, and your result is slugs. That's the mass. And then when you're doing these problems, don't mix units. If you're given FPS units, use FPS units only. Don't mix in SI units. And vice versa, if you're given SI units, don't mix in FPS units. So that's it.